Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone's The Witchwood reveal season is underway, and in this video I'm going to take a look at the newly revealed Priest legendary minion, Lady in White. Lady in White is a 6-mana 5/5 minion with a battle cry to cast Inner Fire on all minions in your deck. In other words, when you play Lady in White, every single minion in your deck, but none in play or in your hand, will have their attack changed to the same value as their health is. So it's a very interesting card with a potentially very powerful effect. There are two cards that might warrant some kind of comparison, one of them being Prince Kelazeth, which obviously has seen a lot of play and has been quite powerful. And Kelazeth and Lady in White have similar effects. Both of them you have to play them in order to get that effect going, but then it will help you throughout the rest of the game. But there are also some crucial differences. Prince Kelazeth comes out much earlier, so the snowball effect will be much harder. Kelazeth is also an unconditional buff, whereas Lady in White doesn't always buff your minions. If your minions with higher attack than health, they're actually getting debuffed. So it's not quite the same thing. However, some of the same principles apply. In order to run Kelazeth or Lady in White, you have to have a deck that's also good without them, because the buff effect only comes into play after you have first found the card and then played it. And this is something where a comparison with the Caverns Below is useful, maybe a contrast between the two, because the Caverns Below gives you Crystal Core, which turns all of your minions into 5/5s. And that effect is an aura, so everything you have in play gets the buff, everything you have in hand gets the buff, everything that you bounce back and forth retains the buff. That's a fair bit different from simply buffing your deck and not your hand or anything that's in play. So while in Quest Rogue we can see that Quest Rogue is running lots of minions that otherwise see no play whatsoever, but when they are buffed by an aura, and the aura is reliable, even if you can get the aura later in the game and you have already drawn those bad cards, they become good cards at that point. That doesn't happen with Lady in White or Prince Kelazeth. So the lesson here is don't expect bad cards to become good cards, simply because you happen to have Lady in White in your deck. Looking at things that Lady in White cannot do, there are certain cards that the Lady in White effect is not quite above. Twilight Drake. Would you like to change the attack of your Twilight Drake to 1? Twilight Acolyte. Would you like to change the attack of your Twilight Acolyte to 4, so that it gives the opponent's minion 4 attack, and then you can't steal it with the Cabal Shadow Priest? There are some consequences you have to accept when you play Lady in White. Also, Lady in White doesn't work well with some synergies. Say with Echo. Okay, if you have Phantom Militia in your Lady in White deck, the first Phantom Militia will be a 4/4, but the subsequent ones that you play from the Echo copies will be 2/4s again. And similarly with Eternal Servitude or other Resurrect effects, if a minion is killed and brought back, it reverts back to its original stat line and not the buffed stat line. So there are certain limitations when you're playing Lady in White. As I already mentioned, you should not expect Lady in White to make bad cards into good cards either. So people have already been memeing about the 4-mana 7/7s that are going to come. Mogoshan Warden, 4-mana 7/7 with Taunt. Oasis Snapjaw, 4-mana 7/7. No, that's not how any of this works. You don't put bad cards into your deck simply because they might become good cards if you draw them after you have played Lady in White. There may be some room for some borderline viable cards to make the cut, but these cards that are so far away from making it, they don't get better just because you have Lady in White. But that's enough doom and gloom. What can Lady in White actually achieve? Well, Lady in White can be pretty good with dragons. We have stuff like Ysera, stuff like Primordial Drake, stuff like Sleepy Dragon. Cards that become very, very powerful after Lady in White's effect. Perhaps these can even be combined with something like a Dragon Hatcher, which will be a 4/4 and recruits a dragon, so conveniently drawing some of those cards that have been buffed. And maybe there's even room for something like a Drakari Enchanter. Your end of turn effects trigger twice. Why? 2 Ysera cards from a 12/12 Ysera. Why a 5/5 Drakari Enchanter? Sounds legit. Also, you could put something like Lich King into a deck like this. The Drakari Enchanter also enhance that one. Another group of cards that can benefit from Lady in White is Death Rattle minions. Total on Shell Razor 4 mana 6/6, yes please. Obsidian Statue 9 mana 8/8 with Lifesteal, I'm all for it. Or even something like a Devil's Oar Egg. Regularly it's a 0/3, but after Lady in White it becomes a 3/3, so it becomes much more easy to trade it away and get the proc. Obviously, you wouldn't put something like a Devil's Oar Egg into your deck if you don't have other ways to proc it as well. But as a priest, those ways should never be in short supply when we're talking about 0/3 minion. While not a Death Rattle minion, Stonehill Defender is also a minion that warrants mention in this spot. 3 mana 4/4 with a Battlecry to discover a Taunt minion, and it has a really good chance to discover Obsidian Statues. Obviously those statues will not have the buff, they will be just 4/8s. But still, that's another package that is coming along rather nicely. There is also a third group of cards that can benefit from the buff from Lady in White. These cards, well, I guess they're just the other cards with a lot of health. Injured Blademaster, a priest classic. Good to see some kind of renewal with Lady in White. Dark Reaper, a defensive tool that's already seeing lots of play. Hungry Etin. I've always felt that Hungry Etin is just almost there, but not quite. But maybe with Lady in White, that 6 mana 4/10, which has a downside that it summons a random 2-drop. But then it's a 6 mana 10/10 that summons a random 2-drop, so it might not be that bad. Or if you're looking for a finisher, then how about a Stormwatcher? 8/8 with Wind Fury. There are some really interesting things that Lady in White can accomplish. However, there has to be a certain level of realism about what Lady in White can do and what it cannot do. While the buff itself is good, your deck has to stand on its own even without Lady in White. So what kind of decks could we build around Lady in White? We could build a control Dragon Priest type of deck, where Lady in White is one of the win conditions. Going into the late game, it will buff some of those late game dragons to very high stats, and then they will just be overwhelming threats to the opponent. We could have a slightly more mid-range variant of the same, with less spells in the early game, and putting in some of those Injured Blademasters and Dark Reapers and such, so that we have a steady curve that then benefits from Lady in White whenever it's found. We could have a Death Rattle Priest, maybe a Quest Priest even, where Lady in White is going to buff all of those Death Rattle minions so that they will be much more useful in the late game, and that will give the Death Rattle Priest some more threats. We might even see Lady in White as part of a Combo Priest deck. Combo Priest as such doesn't necessarily need Lady in White, it depends on where in the spectrum of I really want to OTK, and well, I will sometimes OTK some people, the deck lies. In a world of Skulking Geists and no Potion of Madness, where you have to have some high health minions of your own, having Lady in White, getting some of those pre-buffed with the attack, not the OTK level, but still to a respectable level, can be a perfectly viable build also, with the combo included. After all, even the current Combo Priest is really a mid-range deck that just runs the combo as one additional win condition. It can also win games without the combo, and that's something that Lady in White can then further support. Overall, Lady in White is an interesting card. It's not a defining card, I think, because after all there will be lots of games where you just don't draw Lady in White in time, so your deck has to be able to perform even without her. But it's still an interesting card that can provide one alternative way to give endgame win conditions to a priest deck. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.